Welcome back to the 2007 Chrysler Jeep Superstores APBA Gold Cup, coming to you from Detroit, Michigan. A beautiful race site, a beautiful town, and tons of fans on hand. Jim is with your winner of Heat 2B.
2 out of 2 for the U16 team. And let's ask Dave Vilwalk, the driver. Now, Dave, the water doesn't seem that rough today.
No, it's good water in the river today. We're just going to have to, keep the boat running all day long, try to stay out of trouble, and so far we've done that.
The action now continues for the 2007 APBA Gold Cup 3A, and here's the lineup, the way they will compete on the Detroit River here in 3A. Boats are very, very slow now, coming around the Rooster Tail turn down by the pits. They don't want to jump that clock. They're just going by the Detroit Yacht Club right now. Let's take a look.
Oh boy, Alberto on the inside, Jarvis Construction on the outside. Jarvis Construction a little bit wide in the corner. As you can see, Oh boy, Alberto starts to slow a little bit out of the corner, but Miss Chrysler Jeep coming up the middle, looking fantastic. Oh boy, Alberto, Jarvis Construction leading by a hair going across the start-finish line.
And it's reported that Greg Hopp is in the seat of the U25 Jarvis Construction for this particular heat. It's a 3-boat heat as they come toward the Belle Isle Bridge, a beautiful sight on the Detroit River.
The battle shaping up in this heat, just like the previous heat. Oh boy, Alberto in the lead. Miss Chrysler Jeep in second place. Remember earlier today, these boats battled side by side with Steve David taking the win. Oh boy, Alberto, Miss Chrysler Jeep on the outside. Miss Chrysler Jeep accelerating fantastically out of that corner.
Jimmy King has got it all together on the smooth side as he comes down the Belle Isle Beach, but now the turbine RPMs take over for Steve David, and he takes a lead coming in to the tight Rooster Tail turn to come around and complete lap number 1. He hangs it on the hook. That second Rooster Tail comes up, and look at shooting on the far outside, the piston packer Jimmy King keeping his RPMs up. Oh, what a battle we have side by side, and the fans are loving every single minute of it.
Looking at how tight those boats go through the turn, what's it like inside the cockpit of that boat at 140 miles an hour in that turn?
It's like trying to harness a tornado. You're bouncing around trying to maintain control, fighting that wheel, hitting that accelerator, and in the case of a piston packer, you've got your hands full of a real heavy engine on a light frame.
When the boats pop up out of the water, just like in offshore powerboat racing, are they backing off the throttle and getting back into it to save the equipment?
No, they're not doing what they do in offshore racing. Just keep it right down. Unless they really take a flight, then they get out of it before they twist up and break a shaft. But for the most part, they just keep that pedal to the metal. And now in the tight turn, as they come around to complete another lap on the Detroit River, here in Heat 3A of Elimination Heats for the 2007 Gold Cup, you can see the piston packer coming out strong with Jimmy King. 151 plus mile an hour for both boats. That's moving, friends. That's the fastest laps of today.
Jimmy King seems to catch him on the top end of the race course. He seems to generate more power as the boats go faster, but that turbine boat out accelerates the Oh boy, Alberto on the inside. Miss Chrysler Jeep closest to you on the outside.
And when you're looking at about 180 mile an hour in the straightaway, side by side, 3 foot apart, both drivers have confidence in the other's driving ability to race that close, that fast, that quick.
It's an amazing, amazing sight to see as Miss Chrysler Jeep again pulls up on Oh boy, Alberto going into the bottom end of this race course. This is where it starts to get a little bit rough. Oh boy, Alberto turns the wheel as hard as he can, keeping his lane on the inside. Miss Chrysler on the outside. Miss Chrysler not able to accelerate as well, but he's going to try so hard to catch that Oh boy, Alberto boat as they cross the start-finish line.
And they come down now to complete another lap over 151 mile an hour for the Miss Chrysler Jeep with Jimmy King. Also the Oh boy, Alberto with Steve David. The turbine powered on the right. The piston packer Allison engine on the left. And here they come around the wide turn of the Belle Isle Bridge. Once again, this is competition at its very best.
Jimmy King must have gone back and done his homework, because in the previous heat race he was never this close to Oh boy, Alberto, but he is kept within a boat length the entire way around this course. He has to be feeling inside of that boat, working hard, trying to catch that bright green Oh boy, Alberto entry.
And each driver knows where the other one is and what they can do and what they can't do. Look at the way they turn. This time, it is the piston packer, Miss Chrysler Jeep, coming on a little stronger and really pulling him off the exit pin to complete another lap.
The white flag lap right now, Jimmy King working so hard. He's pulled in front of Boy Alberto on the outside of your screen as they come into the bottom end of this race course.
Here they are now coming around on the last lap, and look at the piston packer on the outside in lane 2. Come around and pull the turbine out of that turn along the bridge, coming down the smoothest part. This is where they've got to make their move with the piston packer. They can't give an inch with that checkered flag waiting.
No way those guys were waving to each other. They were driving way too hard out of that corner. Jimmy King in the lead. Oh Boy Alberto in second place. Oh Boy Alberto is going to be on the inside of the corner. Jimmy King on the outside. If Jimmy King can hold his speed, he might just take the victory. Look at him turn that boat. He keeps it in front of Boy Alberto. This is going to come around. You see the checkered flag. Can Jimmy King do it? Can he take the victory? He does. Congratulations, Jimmy King.
400 points for the Chrysler Jeep piston packer with Jimmy King at 151.4. The Oh Boy Alberto Steve David at 151.3. And the Jarvis Construction finishes third. Did not start for the Spirit of Detroit and the Mirage Racing. That rounds out your field and your final order of finish for Heat 3A. 3B still to come, and then the winner-take-all finale. We'll have lots of action on the Detroit River Historic Course in just a moment.
Welcome back to Detroit, Michigan. I'm Mike Iwaski alongside Jim Hendrick for the Chrysler Jeep Superstores APBA Gold Cup. With one more preliminary heat to go, Jim is down on the docks with Jimmy King.
Steve David said the last heat, you really pushed him. This time you beat him. What racing?
It's been fun. I mean, Steven David's a great competitor, but this Chrysler Jeep boat, they've got it ready to roll. A little better start. We'll see what we got there for that orange boat in the final.
Well, that orange boat is going to start in Heat 3B. You can guarantee that Jimmy King is going to be on the docks watching that Miss Elan Plus boat, getting his game plan ready to go for the final.
All the crews now will watch the boats that they figure they have to beat. That's part of the game. Right now in a slow parade down past the Yacht Club, coming around the Rooster Tail turn and the pit area. The clock is winding down. When it hits 0, you must be at your top speed. There we go. It looks like on the inside in lane number 1, it is John Thierret, who must show well in the Miss Beacon Plumbing in this heat if he wants to make the final. The Miss Elan Plus, the Formula1.com number 1 with Mike Allen, and the Miss DYC with Jeff Bernard, all making it toward that big turn at the Belle Isle Bridge.
Must be very intimidating to go into a corner. You could see with Mike Allen that U1 Formula boat, when the Elan Plus boat turned, it was just a wall of water coming at Mike Allen.
All right, it is the U16 into the smooth water first. Vilwak, who has won Heat 1, Heat 2, trying for a perfect afternoon just prior to the final to pick up another 400 points in this preliminary battle, the last one of the day before the winner-take-all finale. He makes the tight turn to come around to complete lap number 1. His speed right now checking in a little over 140 mile an hour, so he knows he has things pretty much going his own way. Beacon Plumbing has a problem down in the course. He's restarting. That's bad news for the Beacon Plumbing team, Jean Thierret.
The U16 Miss Elan Plus crosses the start-finish line. Jim, is his mechanic now saying to him, save the equipment, you have a little bit of a lead, let's make it to the final?
Absolutely, because the winner-take-all final is the most important. As long as you're out in front, smooth water, forget the speed, just maintain your lead over the rest of the fleet and pick up 400 points. That's the plan.
He's making it look perfect again as he goes along the bridge, the upper end of the race course. This is the wide sweeping turn. They don't have to turn as hard here, but also this is the smoother side of the race course, so he can lay the boat out, run it a little bit flatter, and get some more speed out of it.
You can see it's a little rougher down there in turn number 1 at the exit pin. As they come down toward the smoother part, you can see the way his front end was bouncing. Now he has settled down into the smoother water as he comes into the tight rooster tail turn at the pit area, hangs it on the hook, the second skid fin, throws up another rooster tail. He's in tight and comes around to complete lap number 2 at about 141 mile an hour. And you can see the slop, the way those sponsons are taking a bounce, and you can see that prop right underneath just going away. RPMs just powerful enough to stay out in front.
What sort of structural damage can be done to the hull of the boat after a race as rough as this one here in Detroit?
You can crack a sponson, you can crack a hull, you can break a shim, you can crack a prop, you can bend a shaft, you can bend the tails, you can do all kinds of things to these boats because they take one heck of a pounding. But a credit to the crews who work on them day and night to make sure that they hang together for the driver.
Unlike offshore powerboat racing, where these boats race one time on Sunday for anywhere from 5 to 15 laps, these boats have already raced 2 times, this being the 3rd time, the 4th coming up. How much work goes into one day of racing for one of these teams?
You wouldn't want to know. These guys sometimes don't sleep for 2 days just to make sure it's running right, checking every single cotter key, every single nut and bolt, every single shim, and the checker flag is out, and 3B will be taken by Dave Philwalk in the U16 Elam Plus. He has had a perfect 2 days. Winner of Heat 1, 2, and 3. He has 1,200 perfect points for Dave Philwalk. His average speed as he slowed it down to just a little over 138 mile an hour.
Perfection shown by the Elam Plus team. FormulaBoats.com in 2nd and Miss DYC in 3rd.
This last one decided in lane 2. Are you going to change any strategy for the finale?
Well, of course, we'll change Saturday, but we don't know what that is yet. We'll just got another win, got some more points, got Miss Elam into the final. Really happy for the crew and, what we've been able to do here this weekend. It's been a long weekend.
Dave Philwalk, perfection at its best, but Jeff Bernard getting some advice before the final here in Detroit, Michigan.